So here we go. We're live and on the air. Woody, I'll let you do your intro.
Awesome, and welcome, and thanks for watching the QB Show, the QuickBooks Show, formerly Radio Free QuickBooks, with myself, Woody Adams, Stacy Kildall, Don Brolin. Happy to have you aboard whether you're watching or if for the next however long you just go to YouTube and listen. You can put in your system tray, and it's kind of like a podcast, if you will. So thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the show. And I'm an Intuit employee. Though Intuit's not affiliated with the show, anything I do or say on the show may or may not reflect the opinion, statements, or views of Intuit. And I'm a product specialist dealing mostly with QuickBooks and QuickBooks-related things. Been with Intuit for about 10 years, based in Texas still. And, of course, we have both Stacy and Don on, coming off the big U.S. loss in the World Cup. So, Don, let's go to you first. How you doing? How you feeling?
Well, I'm a little disappointed, primarily due to the missed opportunities today, but at the same time hopeful that the U.S. might be coming back and be able to participate in such a game. That's what I would say. Is that fair?
No, it was a letdown. I think the goalie did awesome, so it was kind of sad ending.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the goalie. I think there were enough opportunities on the fourth line that they did not capitalize. They were playing with the ball too much. It's like, shoot the ball. So it was, a little disappointing, but yeah, at the same time, again, hopeful, Woody, for the future.
Yeah.
There's enough of us that will beat them up.
4 more years, it's exciting. I only get into it. I only get into it once every 4 years. Stacy, how you doing?
This only happens once every 4 years?
The World Cup, yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about?
Like
that's what's been going on.
It's actually a big deal. Big deal.
Around the world, yeah, it's huge.
That's what we were talking about right before the show started. Like, I understand that it's a big deal around the world.
Yeah.
But I missed the memo.
Yeah.
That everybody else seemed to have gotten, that we as a country have now decided to embrace football. So, a.k.a. soccer. I didn't know that it was a thing that everybody in the U.S. was all, like, jacked up and super excited about. So I missed that memo. I didn't even know that the U.S. was playing. So.
Yeah, we usually aren't. That's a good point. We usually aren't.
I will not. We won't do it.
We won't do what?
We're not going to hold it against you that you were the only one, maybe in America, that didn't know.
That it was the thing?
Well, yes.
I mean, I knew that it was... No, don't get me wrong. I knew that it was happening. And I know that it's in Brazil. Like, I know, that it's happening, and I know where it is. What I didn't know is that everybody in our country is now in the U.S. who really kind of...
Not everybody.
Many people. That was a sweeping generalization. Many people... As a country, we haven't really been big soccer fans, and so now that there's many, many, many people who are very interested, like I had a client cancel today. He emailed me last night and he said, we're going to probably have to push back the conference call that we have because I'm probably going to be watching the World Cup. And I was like, whoa, I've never had a client cancel because of soccer. But you know what? It's all good. Everybody's got their jam, right? Like everybody's got their gig, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So,
that was sad, but I'm glad I got to see the end of it at home with the kids. It was kind of cool, though they didn't care either.
Oh, you got to watch it with the kids?
What's that?
You got to watch it with the kids?
Yeah, I've been trying to.
That's super fun.
Isaac doesn't care. Ray tries to follow. Ray just kind of roots for the team that I'm not rooting for. So she asks me who I'm rooting for, and then she just picks the other team.
That's sort of awesome, and it makes me love her. It makes me love her a little bit more than I did about 30 seconds ago.
So anyways, good stuff. Glad we're all here tonight. We don't have a guest, so it's just going to be us for the hour, and hope you guys are enjoying the new format. We are going to share some stuff out, but I wanted to
wait.
First. Yeah, go for it.
I have to tell because I wasn't on last week and I want to talk about
you got to talk about your Scaling New Heights and post-Scaling New Heights.
So I just want to say the Scaling New Heights was an epic week. It's the only way that I can describe it. Dawn, how would you describe it?
I don't want to think about it.
Okay. So Dawn and I, when we do conferences together, or anytime we have any event that we have to get to be together, we usually route her flight through Detroit because you cannot get anywhere direct from Hartford, Connecticut. So she picked me up. We were telling everybody that she flew her plane into Detroit the Sunday of Scaling New Heights, which was the 15th. It was Father's Day. She picked me up, and then I'm not gonna lie, we had a few cocktails on the plane because that's usually what we do. We got to the Scaling New Heights. We showed off our Joe for President T-shirts that we had. Walked around a little bit, did some schmoozing. Went about our business throughout the week. Dawn taught. I worked the booth. I taught. Did some really cool stuff. And then Thursday we were scheduled to leave, and we were on the same flight out of San Antonio, and Dawn was going to, again, fly through Detroit and then go home to Hartford.
Drop you off.
And she was going to drop me off. We're going to get on her plane. She was going to drop me off in Detroit and then head back on to Connecticut. And Wendy, who works for her, and their friend also from Connecticut that I think Wendy used to work with, Anne, right? Yes, she was also on the same flight. So the four of us were going to get in a car together Thursday, and go to the airport and get on a plane, and then they were all going to head on out back to Connecticut, and I was going to head home to my house. So our flights kept getting delayed Thursday, and we finally made the call. We're just going to stay. We're just going to stay an extra day and do the lazy river because at that point, our flights were almost 4 hours, I think, or 3 hours delayed. Dawn was they were going to miss their connection. Nobody wanted to stay at my house, and I don't blame them because I don't have an actual spare bedroom. They would have all had to, camp out on couches and stuff. It just would have been kind of a nightmare. So anyway, we ended up spending the day on the lazy river at the San Antonio JW Resort. Had a wonderfully beautiful day, super fun. Dawn and I kept looking at each other all day, and Dawn kept telling me, what did you keep saying? This is the best day ever.
The best day ever.
Best day ever.
There were reasons for that.
Yeah, and we had just a really, really fun time. Hung out with the T-Sheets people a little bit on Wednesday night. Anyway, had a really good time.
Yeah.
Supposed to leave Friday. I wake up Friday morning at about 5 a.m. and I have a backache, and my back hurts so bad. And I think it's from sleeping on that bed. So I get up and I go to the bathroom, and Dawn and I were snuggling. She spent the night. She stayed the night in my room. We consolidated our rooms for that last night. So Wendy went and stayed with Anne, and Dawn stayed with me. So she's like, "Hey, buddy, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Well, my back hurts really bad." And long story short, as the morning progressed, I got sicker and sicker, and was I think by what time did we leave for the hospital?
8:30.
8:30. By about 7:30, she was pointing at me and saying, "I'm calling an ambulance," because I was literally writhing in pain. It was so bad. And so I said, "You're not calling an ambulance because my insurance won't cover an ambulance ride. We'll just take a taxi." So Dawn negotiated with probably one of the craziest taxi drivers ever. She negotiated. I have a vague memory of this. I was laying down with my head in her lap in the back seat. Dawn, my savior, love her more than anything else, got me to the hospital, got me to the emergency room where they admitted me, and then very shortly took some blood and did an ultrascan and found out that I had to have my gallbladder out. So Dawn stayed with me until through pre-op, till about 2 o'clock. Then she had to leave and go pack so that she could get to the airport and catch her flight home. And I just want to say she had a first-class flight, but she had to fly coach. And you don't understand how much you have no idea how much I appreciate that my girl flew coach just so she could stay with me at the hospital. Awesome. And then my husband did what is probably the most romantic thing he's ever done, and I've known him since we were 12 years old. We started dating when I was 22. We've been married, it'll be 14 years this September. Wow. Probably one of the most romantic things ever. He got online at work, he bought a ticket. The only tickets that were available to get to San Antonio on the next flight out were first class. He bought a one-way first class ticket, left work, didn't have a carry-on, didn't have any bags to check. He bought a one-way ticket first class, and the only thing that he brought on the plane was his GPS from his car, which means he's most likely on some TSA list, because that looks a little sketchy. I'm just going to say. And so he was waiting for me by the time I got out of the operating room. He was waiting for me in my room, which was absolutely like, I kept saying, "You came to rescue me." So he came, stayed with me until I got out of surgery, probably around 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Wow.
He stayed until he couldn't keep his eyes open anymore. He stayed till about 9 or 10 o'clock. He went back to the hotel. Wendy Rorson, amazing. I want to give a shout out to Wendy. She really was very helpful. She called the hotel, explained to them what was happening, asked them to give me the same conference rate, and then also added Kevin to the reservation, so when he got there, he could go get a key and get into the room, because I don't even think I had a key at that point. Just really amazing. Amazing people. Like, I just want to say, it's so nice and it's so important to have, and this is one of the things, and this is proof why Scaling New Heights is an amazing networking thing. I mean, amazing. If you don't go for anything else and you don't know what training to take, at least go for the networking, because you meet amazing people. I mean, I never would have met Anne. I never would have met Wendy, Dawn's Wendy. Both of them were texting me all weekend asking me how I was doing, if they could do anything for me. Dawn and Wendy and Anne all asked if there was anything that I needed, any help that I needed with any clients. Just really amazing, and it's really nice to have like that kind of network of people around you when just basically shit goes wrong. There's no other way to describe it other than that. And so that's why I was out last week, because I really wasn't feeling very well, and I want to thank you guys. Long story, and I just want to say thanks. So, had my gallbladder out. I've got 4 holes now in my abdomen, and I think, because it's a little bit more interesting, I might tell people they're bullet wounds.
Yeah.
And see how big the scars are. So it's either I got shanked, or maybe they're bullet wounds. So I have to see once that, because my Steri-strips, the little tape that I don't have stitches, I have like little Steri-strips and they haven't come off yet. Anyway, so when they come off, I'm going to see how big the scars are. So that's going to depend on the story, because I have my gallbladder out isn't really that exciting. So I want to thank you guys for taking up the slack, picking up my slack last week for the show. And Dawn, I tell her, I've texted her almost every day since the conference, or since Friday, to tell her just how much I absolutely positively love her. So long story, and I apologize, but I wanted to get that out.
That's awesome. That's nice job, Dawn.
So we have questions, yes?
Well, yeah, I wanted to go to sponsors, but nice job, Dawn. Glad you're doing okay, Stacy.
Yeah, she
tried. You're doing better. And way to go, Kevin, to get down there. That's sweet.
You should. Nice. I'm just saying.
I know. I just think it's awesome.
No, he was awesome. He was good.
That's awesome. All right, so our sponsors for the QB show, Avalara.com. You know, it's a dynamic tax decision engine. Avatax. Remember, we got to interview Ian Clyde at Scaling New Heights on stage. That was a lot of fun. So they integrate with QuickBooks Online and the desktop. T-Sheets, tsheets.com. You know, what else can you say about those guys? Time tracking software extraordinaire.
It's a natural love affair.
31 countries, right. And they hook up with QBO and desktop. Unidata, unidataIT.com, of course, QuickBooks, Microsoft Office hosting. Exact Online, they were at Scaling New Heights too. That was fun to see them. ExactOnline.com, manufacturing wholesale add-on for both desktop and QBO. They're huge in Europe. And then they're growing over here. So Zencash, of course, lastly, Zencash. Thank you. Sponsoring the show, Zencash.com, AR services, AR time tracking, sending messages to your clients, customers, things like that. So thanks. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Now, I wanted to share out real quickly, and I'm going into my QuickBooks 2014, and this came about because I've been testing. Let me know when you guys see my outskirts of Missoula, Montana scene. Do you see that yet? Yeah? You guys see the QuickBooks? Oh, I can't hear you guys all of a sudden. Let's see. Can you guys, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, when you start to do screen share, I mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so good. Let me try it
so
again.
you're good.
Let me just,
You're good.
let me Here we go. Sorry. I forgot about that. Sorry about those guys. All right. So I'm in QuickBooks, and this is how to actually, technically, in a perfect way, close QuickBooks. It's probably the silliest demo that you've ever seen, but it was news to me. I've been supporting this product. I came on board when 2005 was launched. That was a good year. You know, it was when they still had like the those centers or whatever you guys called them. You know, before you actually moved to like customer, vendor, employee center and a home page. It was, you know, whatever, I forget what we had, but '05 was still that last year. You know, you could still turn the audit trail on and off, that kind of stuff, right? So ever since then, and you might be doing this too, that's why I'm talking about it, I always close QuickBooks by clicking on the X. That is actually really bad. I found out. And they've done testing for that it can cause data damage. I'm not saying it does all the time, but it's just not the best way. I mean, if you do it now and again, it's good, but really that's not how we should be doing it. And then others say, well, how about just go hit Alt F4, right? Because that's another way to do it. That's basically the keystroke for file exit, Alt F4. However, there's one step you need to do before you actually exit out of the QuickBooks, is to close the company file you're in. I know it's silly. Step 1, File, Close Company. This will bring me to the No Company Open window. Step 2, Alt F4 or File Exit QuickBooks. You know, and it's funny because QuickBooks usually takes a long time to close for me. It's because I have all these windows open, I'm clicking on the X, and it's just like abort. That's what basically I'm doing. I'm aborting the program. I'm essentially crashing it. So you do that long enough, and there you have it. So very interesting stuff that I learned today, and it was very humbling. But also, and this is actually a great way to open a file from the No Company Open window. Great. So the program's open. Now it's teeing up to open the file. Correct posture for QuickBooks in closing the file. I am very humbled by that knowledge, and I'm going to stop sharing. And that's what I learned today while I was testing QuickBooks 2015. What do you guys think? I can't hear. I can't hear you anymore.
I'm going to say I'm absolutely positively in shock. I did not know. I did not know that. So you should not use the X. Is that what you're saying?
No.
How many classes have you taught, or how many like support sessions have you done where you just click the X and close out of it? Every one.
Yeah. It was, you know, like everybody, you cut corners. I just click on the X. And, you know, I'm sure there'll be those that would argue, though, probably argue the, you know, a little debate, and that's fine. I'm not going to debate because, honestly, I don't go into desktop a lot anymore, but still, I just like the fact that I get why it could possibly lead to issues, because you're literally just cutting the program off at its knees as opposed to letting it down easy. Dawn, thoughts?
Wow.
I love the desktop, and you're not.
I know.
I love the desktop.
You can't prevent me from the love I have for QBD, whatever they say.
QBDT. QBD would be cool. Hey,
but I
probably saw it.
Hi, Woody. I like the X when I'm in QBO, and I, you know, get the warning about what I'm doing. And I have to admit, I have to read it because it's actually the opposite of the desktop warnings. It's just if you're a QuickBooks Desktop user and you're using the QBO, I promise you, you better read the warning, because it's different than you think. So there's that.
No, that's good. Yeah. Anyway, take it with a grain of salt. If you want to hit on the X on your QuickBooks Desktop, go ahead. But technically, you should just be closing the company file, then exiting out of the program.
I had no idea.
Interesting. And you guys, I didn't want to call it out because, you know, we're not talking about 2015, but you might have seen some cool-looking icons on my desktop. Excited about that.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm not saying anything.
Don't do it, Woody.
No.
You get killed for that. But anyway.
So,
yeah.
I'm having fun. We've been doing beta testing. If anybody is interested and doing beta testing, what's the website? What do you can go to? External testing.
.intuit.com.
Yep.
You fill out your profile, and it'll pick projects for you, and one of them will probably be either Pro 15 or Premier or Enterprise. I got Enterprise in it. I got all of them. I can install any. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and I'll show you that real quick, what that looks like.
Yeah.
Hang on one second.
Externaltesting.intuit.com. It used to be beta.intuit.com, but it won't bring you anywhere anymore. It doesn't even reroute you. Externaltesting.intuit.com.
Yeah, hang on. I'm going to do a screen share real quick. Right here. So you guys can see, you're going to go to externaltesting.intuit.com, and then if you need to, you can log in or you can create a new user account. And like Woody said, you just fill out a profile, and then it gives you options, and it'll email you if you're interested. Like when there's other beta testing opportunities that come up, it'll email you and let you know when those come up, and you can actually try. You can try them out or sign up for them, or say that you want to do it.
That's pretty exciting. I used to do all the beta testing by going to like these build folders, right, on the servers out in California. They'd have all these builds, beta builds, whatever, and you download and install it. But when I download and install from the external testing site, it's way faster. Even though it might be maybe a little bit, the beta build might be behind a couple weeks. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm just trying to learn what's coming. So that's pretty cool. Hey, Stacy, you didn't see this last week, but I got this.
Bed again?
This background. Yeah, I had to go into bed. My back. So.
I like that.
Yeah, actually, Nicola built this out of coffee burlap bags and a big hunk of wood and some padding.
She's so crafty.
She's wicked crafty.
Yeah, she is wicked crafty.
She just made a pizza, and the dough was made out of rice flour because we're all gluten-free, so it's pretty impressive. Tasted great. They look like pancakes. Anyway, so good stuff. So guys, take that with a grain of salt, but I just found that interesting. I really wanted to talk about that, is how to properly close QuickBooks, which is, just kind of silly, but I guess it really is that way. So, all right, Dawn, can I... Awesome. Can I build an assembly item using other assembly items? We make bath soaps as assembly items. These soaps are then put into gift boxes of 6 soaps each. Why can't I create an assembly item for the gift box made up of the assembly items like the soaps? He or she has tried to set it up this way, but there's no average cost for the gift box showing up in the valuation detail report.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, you want to explain why, though? It was news to me.
Well, you can't do the stacking of the average costing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just
you
not.
You could do a group item, possibly. You could use the. I mean, you have sub-assembly. You can have sub-assemblies.
You can have sub-assemblies of an assembly, right? But I guess.
Right, you can't put an assembly in an assembly.
Well, you can have a finished good that's an assembly, and then in it I could have several other assemblies, and then in those assemblies I could have several other items and assemblies all the way down. But the cost on the valuation for that finished good is going to be for the finished good, not for the other assemblies. Right.
Exactly.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that makes total sense.
Nope.
Good to know. No, that's good. How do I import a... By the way, before we go on to questions, did you guys have any cool QuickBooks stuff that you wanted to share from the week of doing your thing as pro advisors?
I'm going to just say I haven't really worked. I didn't really work too much last week. I got back Monday night, and then Tuesday my car died, so I was dealing with my car breaking down the day after I got home from conference/surgery. And then my phone broke. I didn't have a very good week last week, and also I took in a stray kitten. Which is my own fault. These are choices that I make. I understand that before everybody gets on me. These are choices I make, and I understand that. So I already have 3 cats, and Shannon, who works with me, she found a stray in the middle of the road, and it was all covered in mud, and she's like this big. I mean, she's just a little tiny thing, and she was all covered in mud and like.
That's her name, Shannon?
No, Shannon works for me, and
Oh,
she
right.
found the kitten, and she's allergic to cats, and she stopped at my house to drop off some stuff, and she's like, I found this cat, and I was like, just give it to me, and I'll just take care of it. And so then I took it to the vet, and like $350 in vet bills later, I still have this stray that I'm trying to find a home for. So last week I didn't really work, so I have no good. Bottom line is I have no good stories.
It's a good cat story.
Yeah, she's adorable. I mean, I posted a picture of her on Twitter. I'm trying to find her a home, but like she's really sick, and so it's not like I can really hand off a really sick kitten to someone. They're not going to really want to take that responsibility on. And
I'm not
so
either. Yeah.
I am. She's like my little charge now. She's sequestered in my bathroom right now, and she's doing much better today. She's kind of getting into trouble a little bit today, jumping on things and in there and whining to come out, so I know she's feeling better. So we have been calling her the Clilly, because when Eric was little and learning how to talk, he couldn't say kitty, and so he would say Clilly, here Clilly, and so that's what we've been calling her, and I'm assuming in the event that we end up keeping her, which puts me in the crazy cat lady category, because I'd have 4, her name will probably be Clilly. Anyway, I have no good stories. That's all I have to say. I'm babbling tonight. I'm just excited to see you guys.
No, that's great. So, Dawn, do you have any cool QuickBooks stuff you want to share?
I honestly had to pull up my calendar just to check and see what I did last week, just to be honest. Like, I just wanted to double check. I still have the lingering point of sale problem because the antivirus that some genius put on the computer is slowly eating away at my soul. So I've been dealing with that.
This is the same POS problem you were dealing with in the ER.
At the hospital. That's correct. Yep. Which my client's fabulous. It's just, it's not her fault, but yet again, it's not mine.
Right.
It's not my fault. But I'm actually really amazing at just soothing them. And then I had actually a big audit appointment last Thursday, which was pretty interesting. On-site, home office deduction, look out people, here they come.
Right.
Worksheet for your home office deduction. You better have some kind of calculation that you come up with, and it better make sense. You know, the days of, hey, estimation, no, not going to work out long term. So thankfully the audit is not on my return, it's on someone else's. So I love that. It actually fires me up. I'm not in trouble. And so then I had a birthday on Friday.
Yes, you did.
Oh,
my
yeah,
girl
Dawn, happy
had a
birthday.
I'm so excited about your present. Do you want to tell them what I got you?
Well, I haven't gotten it yet, but I got an email, which I'm pretty pumped up about. It's a beer of the month thing.
Nice.
So it's a variety pack, Woody. I'm sure maybe we can do a report once a month.
Yeah.
If it's good, bad, you know, I mean, so it'll be kind of like a fun thing. So I, of course, appreciated that, Stacy.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about
that. And so, you know, other than that, it's just, you know, business as usual, just working hard.
Well, I'm kind of a loser because I didn't get you anything. I didn't even know.
You didn't get me anything. You didn't even say, hey, what's up? Nothing.
I think I liked. I was.
I saw that Abby is sitting up because I saw that yesterday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it was a weekend shop, but no, it was Monday. You're right. Monday. It was Monday. Monday. Well, I was pretty removed, but I did like somebody's happy birthday wish to you. That's like how removed I am with birthdays now.
How was it?
On Facebook, I'll wait till somebody else wishes happy birthday, and then I'll like it.
Oh, yeah.
Indirectly, I'm wishing you happy birthday. Well, it still kind of works. No, but I'm kind of a loser. You're right. But we don't really have any money right now anyway, so I couldn't have got anything. Anyway.
You know what, Woody? It's your thought that counts, bud.
Right.
I mean, who else would do a show with us in their bed and admit it? The beginning part. I love that about you. I do.
Well, I have a background. The background works.
I know, and I still want you to do the show in the white wife beater, which is the worst name for a shirt. But
it is. It's terrible. I won't say that.
It's awful.
It's a muscle T-shirt.
Well,
for me, it's muscle. You got to do the quotes, but it's a T-shirt nonetheless. I will. I'll wear
it's like
it.
A white tank top, right?
Yeah. I'll do it.
I just want to make note that Woody and I have our intern stuff here.
I don't.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have. Yeah.
You
got the shirt. Woody's got the shirt. Dawn's got that. I have Wonder Woman, but if I wanted, I could pretend to drink out of an Intuit cup.
Oh, nice. There you go.
I tell you that this cup is the heaviest cup in America.
It's too big. I don't like it.
Ever.
Like
It's a weapon.
picking up a rock.
It's a weapon. You should just keep it by your door there.
But it's great for soup. I just want to say I have that same mug and I have it upstairs, and it's great for soup. I have.
If you don't pick it up and move it, you got to pour the soup into the cup.
Or I could use this one. I have this one that I could use.
Bragging. Now you're bragging.
Or wait, just wait. There's more. Or I could use.
We're gonna get hate mail.
Or I could use this one.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's a cool one. I like that one.
No.
That's a good one.
So I have a choice I could make if I wanted to.
Yeah.
They're all sitting. They're not in use. They're just sitting next to my desk.
Yeah. Well, let me get to I'm going to get to a question, and now this one's pretty easy. I'm just going to answer quickly. It says I have a backup file that I need to import into QBO. How do I do that? And I say, well, you got to restore it first, and then you can go ahead and export from the desktop file to QBO. So you can't really do anything from a backup per se, but you could restore it and then do it from the company file. Oh, here, Stacy, I think this is a QBO question. It's how do I organize my invoices by date of event? So I have an event company, and I like to organize my invoices by the date. So, see what jobs I have coming with the date. So maybe she's creating estimates or whatever. And if I attach the date to the name, it creates a separate client, which I don't want to do. So it's the same client but different date. So estimates by job report. Actually, she might be in the desktop, right?
So what I would do with this is, for me personally, I would probably put this in the memo field. There's a memo field that's like an internal memo in QBO.
Yeah,
and then I would memorize the report and sort it by that memo field, and then I would bookmark it.
See, that's good because I think it is QBO, and she wants, like, she's equating it to, look, I need an estimate by job report, because on that I could just look at the date, and I could even sort by date. In desktop you can't. So, I mean, that's pretty easy, but in QBO, I mean, you should be able to do that too.
Yeah.
So you put the date in the estimate field as opposed to going just from the date of the estimate was created? Because it's like a service date column, right? You can add?
Yeah, you can do that.
I was thinking service date too.
You can put that on the, and just so that you know, Dawn was asking who I was texting, and I was texting Kevin. He's outside putting together our play structure, and you guys may have missed it, but Eric just snuck up and scared the holy moly bejesus out of me. Because he was so silent, for those of you who are watching. He snuck up, and he just stood here, and, like, I saw him on the screen, and I jumped. So he was coming to ask me if he could have a snack, and so I told him.
Wait, Stacy, I have an even better idea. I even have a better idea.
No
just
snack.
Go to the, here, just do this. Let me share out again.
Okay.
I feel like when I share out, we're doing something. Not that we're not and we don't, but we might as well use it, right?
Yes, and I'm going to hide us from the broadcast, so Dawn and I
That's fine.
I can see your screen.
All right. So you're back to this outside, and by the way, I have some fascination with Missoula, Montana for the last month. I don't know why, but I like them on Facebook, and I can't stop looking at pictures of Missoula. So in QBO, I could just go to the sales, the transaction sales, filter estimates, and sort by date. I know what jobs I have coming up. I mean, there's that. That's one reasonable way that you could go. Probably memorize a report too, I'm guessing. Probably
you could do that.
review
What
sales.
I just want to say you could do that, but what if, for some reason, the estimate date or the invoice date isn't necessarily the date of the event?
Ah, gotcha.
And so
So then
that's
there is, right, gotcha.
So that's why I would, because obviously I do a lot of work for Intuit, and so I have some different projects that are going on. Like next week, I'll be going out to Intuit headquarters, and I'll be doing the show from
Nice.
Mountain View, because I'm doing like a deep dive with lettuce. Intuit just bought the lettuce
And
app.
you already learned it?
I know it a little bit because I did the review, like the first review for the App Center, but Kevin Kern asked me to come out and just kind of like do a deep dive and just really get into it because they're going to start integrating it with product. So I'll be out there next week doing that. And so what I usually do so that I know what invoice goes to what, because I have, I might have more than one invoice out, and Intuit is really truly one of the only clients that I have that I actually have any receivables with. Most of my clients are all set up for automatic sales receipts, the monthly services. Everybody else is due on receipt. So really Intuit is kind of the only client that I have. I have maybe 2 or 3 that I have any receivables with. And so what I usually do so that I know what invoice it is and I can just look at my open invoice list and pull a report really quickly is I will put in that memo field, and the client never sees it. It's an internal memo field. And so what I usually do is just put in whatever the project is. And so that's where I would the date of the event. That's just me.
So interestingly enough, and I think what's kind of lame is that, and by the way, I'm just kind of messing around with an estimates by customer report. I don't see the ability to add service date as a column, and I think that's really sad. It would seem as obviously you would have that as an option, and it's not there. So you could do ship date or what Stacy suggested in memo, because you can actually filter reports by memo under the match, I think. Yeah, you even choose the date, and then it would list all the jobs that date. Pretty cool. So there's a report, memorize it. You could even add it as a top icon if you want to click it, or just do the transactions. But yeah, service date, that would be really nice to have.
Well, and that's one of the things that I have asked. I have actually asked the development team, because we were talking about how do we fix reporting and that kind of stuff a couple months ago. And basically what I said is, if I can put it on any transaction, if it's a field or a column that I can put on a transaction, I want to be able to add it to a report. So anything that I can put on an invoice, a purchase order, a bill, a check, an estimate, anything, I really want to be able to add that as a column in my reports. Because we can pretty much do that in desktop, and so I really want that same functionality. So I've asked them. They know I want everything. If I can enter it in, if it's some place where I can enter something in, if it's a field or anything, just make that available as a column in the report.
Yeah. Well, and real quick, Stacy, you need to merge 2 QuickBooks Online company files. So.
Oh. Say that again?
Yeah, they have 2 QBO company files and they want to merge them. The new company was set up in December, and then they also have another file, and merging requires Internet Explorer. No, there's no way. I mean, so basically they're exporting data and then bringing it into another file that they have using probably Transaction Pro Importer. That's the only thing, right? Exporting to Excel.
Yeah, so this is a kind of an odd question, and I want to read it exactly the way that we pulled it.
Oh, it's not going to make any sense if you read it the way it's written.
I know, but they're saying that merging requires Internet Explorer. And so, first of all, no. When you convert from QBO to desktop, at this point, it still requires Internet Explorer. Maybe that's where they're a little bit off, because when you want to convert from QBO to desktop, you still need IE, right?
Right. That's when you're converting back to desktop. You still need to do it.
And so that's where this gets a little bit confusing, because this is sort of right, but not right. They're kind of right. They're on the right track, is what I'm trying to get to. And so the way that you merge 2 QBO files is you're going to have to convert them back to desktop or convert them to desktop, which you do need Internet Explorer.
Right.
And then or at least one of them. This is how I do it. I actually just had to do this, and I had to take. We just did a project like this, and I did 3 QBO files, I should say, and I had to convert them into one QBO file. And so what we did, because it's a little bit easier to deal, I used Transaction Pro Importer from Bay State Consulting, and so what I did was I converted all of them to desktop, and you do need Internet Explorer to do this, to convert. And then I used the desktop, the installed versions of Transaction Pro Exporter and Transaction Pro Importer for QuickBooks Desktop. It's a lot easier to do it this way. So then what I did was I exported all of the transactions from each one of those 3 QBO files, and then I imported all of them into one brand new file because I didn't want to risk any kind of data damage. So what we did was we had to reclass all of the transactions to the whatever, company A, company B, company C, create classes for each one of them. Because what was happening is there used to be 3 different EINs, there used to be 3 different
company files and
entities.
Yeah.
Well, and they used to be 3 different business entities, and they all became one. And so they wanted to keep all of that data. And even though they knew they were historically separate entities, they wanted all the historical data in the one QuickBooks file. And they're not using sales tax, and they're not doing payroll, so you can use class tracking for multiple entities. Not a best practice. I think every EIN needs its own QBO subscription, but it can be done if you're not using sales tax and you're not using payroll.
It's another cool thing. Laura Redmond was telling me, how balance sheet by class, even in QBO, that's troublesome. But actually, if you use the location, balance sheet by location.
That's what we did.
Yeah. The location really works for that because it's summary of transactions, and location shows up in the deposit form and other weird stuff, right? The class doesn't.
Right, and we wanted to do that. We tried doing that, but we had to convert to desktop in order to consolidate everything.
Yeah.
And because desktop doesn't offer the location tracking, we actually had to use the class tracking for it. And they were going to use location tracking for actual locations because they have different locations. So it was kind of a little messy. They weren't really too worried about balance sheet by class. Mm-hmm. So you can merge them. And my recommendation is the easiest way to do it is convert to desktop, pull all the transactions out, however you're going to do it. You can use Carl Irving's data transfer utility. You can use, Bay State. I prefer the Bay State products. Export them all, and then import them all into a desktop file, and then convert it back up to a brand new QBO subscription. So that is how you merge them. That's how I do it. You can do it using Transaction Pro Importer with the desktop, with the online edition, but there's no way to export the transactions unless you do, because there's no Transaction Pro Exporter for QBO right now.
Right.
Unless you have, it's just a kind of a mess. So that's how I merge.
You can go in, you just can't get out. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's funny, I've been getting this question a lot lately, and by a lot I mean 3 times, but still, it's a lot for one question. So, they want to convert to QBO, but they don't want to convert all of the data. So they just want to convert last year, this year, current year, whatever. And so I've been suggesting that period copy a lot, the condensed feature. Create the file that you want to go up there and then send it up. So I wanted just to remind people of that you can condense the file pretty well and then send it to QBO.
You know what, Woody? I had somebody this week. I did have an interesting email. It's another accounting firm, and they are trying to convert their desktop file to QBO. Their file size isn't the issue because she was like, we're under the file size limits. And that's why you and I were emailing the other day or the other night about it's not necessarily file size, it's the number of targets. So if you do it...
Transaction targets.
Do you have desktop open? I don't have desktop.
Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah.
So
let me share out.
It's 350,000 targets is the the cap now. So it's not a file size anymore. It's the number of targets. So when you are going to convert from desktop to QBO, you want to make sure that you're under 350,000. And one of the things that Kevin Kern, who's the product manager of QuickBooks Online, has mentioned is that this number is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. They're in the process of migrating everybody over to the new version of the new QBO. Everybody should be migrated by the end of July. The reason that everybody is kind of being forced to migrate, and I mentioned this a lot during Scaling New Heights, and I think I mentioned it a couple times on the show, is because of the browser capabilities. Towards the end of July, both Chrome and Firefox, Chrome is the recommended browser, and Firefox, Internet Explorer, like last result when dealing with QBO. But both Firefox and Chrome are going to have updates later this month, and what's going to happen is that product, that browser, inherently is not going to allow pop-ups. So if you've been using the old QBO version, you won't be able to get full functionality because there's a lot of pop-ups that are there with the old QBO. So you just want to make sure that you keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and let you screen share so you can show them the targets that they need to look at. And so when I've had her go do an F2, she was just over that 350,000. I think she was at like 354 and some change. And so that's why she couldn't convert.
I realize I'm not going to screen share just because it'll show my license and product number.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I will tell you that it's in the middle of the window. If you go to hit an F2, that good old product information window, and then down under file size, 3 down from file size, it says total targets. And those are actually like lines on a transaction. So you have 8 lines on this check, 7 on this bill, 10 on the invoice, 3 on a sales receipt, whatever. Over time, those are actual targets. They're in the actual target area, the body area of the document. And so you have to have less than 350,000. And there's no way to really equate that to a file size because there's so many variables. I've been trying to get like a ballpark. Well, what is that? Is it 250? Is it 300? And that the engineers who are over this kind of conversion transformation say there's just no way. I mean, it could be 150 megabytes for someone. It could be 400 for another person. So you can't really equate it to file size. So we just have to not think about file size anymore.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
Good stuff. So let's see here. Dawn, a good one. Withholding by percentage. Is it possible to calculate federal withholding as a percentage rather than by an exemption number? Client's employee asked to have 20% of gross pay as their federal withholding.
Not with the systems we have. No.
Okay. All right.
No. Which is actually the best answer.
No, that's good. No, right? Short and sweet. That's good. Stacy, does anyone know how to?
That's it.
Go ahead.
That's all I got.
No, that's good.
What is this, the Gong Show or something?
Okay. Next question.
All right. Does anyone know how to limit?
Holy crap.
Does anyone know how to limit a user from using the inventory adjustment activity by a password?
So this is desktop?
Yeah, desktop.
Brolin. It's all you, girl.
That's not by password, but by user specification.
Yeah.
Maybe inventory adjustment, is that more like an enterprise, like pinpoint access?
Only an enterprise. You cannot.
See, I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it in Pro Premiere.
Good stuff.
Can in enterprise because
I mean, you have to in Pro Premiere.
Okay.
See what I was doing? You have that granular user access where you can set up roles and assign roles.
No one does that.
I just did it.
No.
I just did it.
No.
I just did it.
What are you, okay? Should we take
just like when you order extra lines.
I can't sit on soft.
This is
sitting
the
on soft things.
For extra lines.
Kind of like up and down right now, Woody.
I know. He's like kind of all over.
It's the sitting with a soft, on a soft chair in the back. It's just not working.
Okay.
So here's a good one.
We're not going to let you go.
You got a haircut, Woody. You got your hairs all cut.
It looks all good.
I did. Nick cut it. and so that was about a week ago. But I think I've decided. I decided after seeing a picture of me in 2006, I've decided
I saw that with the mullet.
to try to grow it out. Yeah, I'm going to try to grow it out again.
Oh my God, please. Please do.
Yeah, I'm going to grow it
if
out.
you grow out the mullet and you wear the tank top, I will give you $100 to do that and do that on the show. $100. I'm putting it live on YouTube right now. I will pay you $100 to wear that tank top with the party in the back, business up front hairdo with a little hockey hair. That's all I'm asking.
And
That's all I want.
This is the actual shirt that Stacy's, as I'm standing at my dresser, this is the actual shirt that Stacy's referring to that I will wear on that day. It's really ratty. It looks really bad. It's kind of see-through.
$100.
And that's what I'll wear with the mullet.
I love that. With the mullet. You gotta have the Kentucky waterfall. You gotta have the hockey hair. That's all I'm saying.
All right. How do I remove a default description in QuickBooks? When I start to type in the description of services for a client, I get a pop-up that appears on my screen with the following dialogue. Do you want to replace your description with the default description for this service? I've never set up a default description. I have no idea where to find it, and I don't want any default description at all. It's very annoying. Can someone please help? This is probably a QBO, I think.
Or it could be desktop.
Yeah,
it does it in both. I'm just saying. Dawn, I'm going to let you take this one because I'm giggling. I'm giggling and I shouldn't be. I have no idea where to set up the default description. It's my favorite thing.
Yes, you
do. Go ahead,
I know, I'm just saying, I know where, but I love that they're like, I don't even know what they're talking about. Whatever. I love that.
All right.
I'll let you answer.
It's in where the item list is. Create an item with a default description, and when you go to create the item, if you have your own thing to say, as they will be, you can totally overwrite it. That's my answer.
Yeah, I mean, just edit the item record, right? There's purchase description and sales description. So.
Well, if you're in the sales receipt or the invoice, you're going to just, overwrite it right within that transaction. Sure. But Woody, I have a suggestion. I think this could be maybe
Well, wait, I'm interrupting. The answer to the question is you can't make it. If you don't want a default description, you leave it blank, and you can't make the pop-up stop, right? Am I right?
Don't shut us out.
Green piece of paper.
Oh.
No, I think it is. It might be QBO because it's the same thing. You edit the product and service. They probably have something in there. And if they don't, then they wouldn't get the pop-up. That's all I know. So.
Yeah. All right. So I have a suggestion.
What?
One is for the first 5 or 10 minutes of a show in the future, I would call it.
Yeah.
That we log in, do our thing, sponsors who we love, by the way. We love them because they take care of business. But we bring our spouses on for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And let them each have their insight into the show. It's been 3.5 years. I mean, we owe them that.
That's a fabulous idea. And just have them talk about what? We need to give them each 3 questions to answer. And what would those questions be?
And Woody can interview them. Nick has to be gone. She has to be in another room. Maybe she can't. Maybe she can't be. Well, you'll be in the bedroom, so maybe she can be in the dining room.
They could be all snuggled up next to each other on the bed, and he can just interview her that way.
You know what? For them, for Woody and Nicola, that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's in the future. What do you have? You going to work? You got to get to work for the clock? What's happening?
No, Isaac just walked in. Wonder what he's doing.
He's adorable.
Did he ask for a snack like Eric did?
No, he's just hanging out. He just crawled into bed. I don't know what he's doing.
Right on. He just wants to be by his daddy. It's awesome.
Right. He's just hanging out. But, hey, shh, come on, finishing up.
So, Woody, next week, it's going to be a QBO QuickBooks Desktop fight.
No.
Oh, nice. Debate?
Kind of a debate.
A debate. It has to be a debate, not a fight. We're not fighting because we're all friends here. It's not a fight. It's not a contest.
It wouldn't be a fight anyway, honestly.
All right, we'll have to think of things that we can argue and debate over, though.
Stop, it's not going to be a fight.
We should do things that...
It's not even a competition, for goodness.
What do you think? We do things that QBO does better versus things that Desktop does better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just, I mean, you know, the Desktop has a much longer list, but we could have fun with it. Pick some key things we want to talk about.
Very short list. I'm going to disagree with that and say
go.
that's a short list. That list is very short. Oh, someone's getting busted. Someone just got busted. You were like snapping, and you were.
Well, Ray came in to bail me out. She's getting them out of here.
You gotta love Big Sister.
Talk to you soon. 5 minutes. Go. All right. Yeah.
All
right.
Love it.
Sorry about that. No, he's a funny kid. He's 5, you know. He turned 5 yesterday.
Yeah, he's a big 5-year-old. Kindergarten in fall.
Yeah, he'll be going into kindergarten this year. So
oh boy, we're in trouble, Woody.
He's doing well. But that's good. All right. Well, let's see if we got another question here.
I think we have time for one more. We got 4 minutes left.
Let's see here. Let's try a desktop one.
Oh, I like. No, wait though. Upgraded from desktop version to QuickBooks Online, Woody. This is a good one.
Okay. All right, Don.
It's a perfect segue.
I love this. Upgraded from desktop to QBO.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the title of the question.
Ignoramus. I mean, who submitted the question? Can't locate any of the memorized journal entries they saved in the desktop. Can you tell us where to find them?
Not. I'm going to let you answer it.
You know what?
Don, go ahead.
All I'm going to say is before you convert anything to anything, you know, from an iPhone to a Droid, from a desktop to a MacBook, all the things that you do to convert things because you think it's going to be better or worse or whatever, you might want to think through what happens. That's all I'm going to say about it.
You might want to use the Googler. Just use the Googler and find out what'll happen.
Googler is actually really awesome. People email me questions, I answer them through the Googler, and I get paid for it.
There's a really good...
I do the same thing.
Seriously, don't email me. Can you Google it first? Like the guy in front of me today at DMV, because I was late on my renewal of my license. And he was like, what time do you open on Saturday? I'm like, seriously, there's like 10 signs, and you can Google it. Like I have the last 3 weeks, because I didn't know what time they were open today.
That is awesome.
I hate that guy. I'm just saying. He looked at me like I'm sorry, but I don't think he was.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, I mean, there's a really good article on what goes and what doesn't, you know, from desktop to QBO. And you can try to go look in the recurring transactions list under the gear icon, but I don't believe memorized transactions go over.
No, I can
so
tell
that's
you
probably
this.
where they were. It's
They
not
don't.
there.
My only point is that there's nothing wrong with the conversion to QBO.
No.
Right.
What is wrong is when you don't know, as the consultant, what goes and what doesn't. Because
well, you look bad. Yeah, I hear you.
I would call it a shit fun. I mean, there are a lot of surprises if you don't know what.
Right. I totally agree. Now, I'll read the blurb. It says, although QuickBooks Online does have a recurring template list that works in a similar way, your QuickBooks Desktop Edition memorized transaction list is not converted to QBO. By the way, I don't know if we showed this before. If I were to share out, kind of then we'll stop, close up shop, but I'm going to share out and show you guys this cool article. It's called Import Limitations. It's actually different from the normal one you'll see. I kind of like it. It's a QBO support article. And basically, it's desktop to QBO. It's a rather long URL. I'm not going to repeat it. I suppose we could put it. Oh, I don't know. We'll figure out how to get it to everybody watching. But when you actually, if you stop your screen and just go to this link here. But anyway, I think you can even Google it. But what I like about this one is I can go down to what I'm looking for. So you know what they have and what they need to go over, and you click on, like for example, I click on memorize transactions, and this is what I read you. And it does it A to Z. It's about 85% accurate. We actually, like Stacy, we actually have I did an updated version of it to Harmony, or I'm sorry, to the new QBO language, and what's supported now. So that you can get from our website. It's in the tips section of radiofreeqb.com. I believe there's a link to the Google Doc. So it's the same info. They just haven't updated the behind-the-scenes KB yet. But anyway, so cool. We've come to the end. You guys got some cool stuff you want to talk about?
Oh, I just want to say that I wrote an article on when I used to write for the Sleater blog. I wrote an article. If you go search for like Stacy Kildall Sleater blog, you can find it. But there's a list of things that I wrote about converting. And then you can also go to our website, go to the QB show. It's going to redirect to Radio Free QB. Right. And then, like Woody said, if you go to the tips, the link to tips is in the top right corner. There is I think we have, oh, you know what? We don't have that in there. But we have a blog article about like next steps after you convert from desktop to QBO. So we'll post both of those on the QB Show Facebook page. We'll post both those links to both those articles, and you can find them there.
Hey, have we figured out how to do the exit and the intro to this show?
Yes, we do it after. So we don't do it live. So what happens is after the show is done, what I do is I go edit.
John's muted.
No, I'm not.
There you go.
There you go.
So what I do is I go actually edit, and I create basically like a whole new link that has our intro and our exit in there, and we're good to go.
Nice. Well, good stuff. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, of course, Avalara, Avatax. Dynamic tax decision engine calculates rates, even does GPS and ship-to-address tracking for the right rates. Avalara.com. T-Sheets, tsheets.com, every 1.3 seconds. Probably even faster now, but they're in 31 countries now. So, online timesheets, even works on your phone. Unidata, QuickBooks and Microsoft Office hosting, that's unidatait.com. Exact Online, exactonline.com, manufacturing and wholesale add-on for desktop and QBO, and then Zencash, zencash.com. AR Services, Action Timeline, taking control of the accounts receivable mess that might be in your client's QuickBooks Desktop or QBO file. And so we'd like to thank all of them. Every one of those hook up to both Desktop and QuickBooks Online. Of course, Unidata is a platform itself. Both Don and Stacy use that. So pretty fun, good stories. Glad you're healthy again, Stacy, doing well.
Thank
John,
you.
having
Feeling
fun?
amazing.
2 things.
Yep.
Quick, I'm glad Stacy's feeling better.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2, desktop rules. And we'll talk about that next week.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
We're going to have that. We're going to have a lively debate next week is what we're going to have. Things that QB Desktop does better versus things that QBO does better. Just going to say. And then what we should do is we have a LinkedIn group. Oh, just a quick reminder, and then we'll exit the show. I know we're a little bit over time, but that's okay. A reminder about LinkedIn: we are shutting down the Radio Free QB LinkedIn group at the end of this month. We want you all to go to the QB Connect LinkedIn group. If you go to theqbshow.com, up in the top right, we have all of our social media links, and you'll see a link to LinkedIn. That'll take you directly to the QB Connect. This is a group that we are managing along with Kathy Iconis and Laura Redmond, 2 other kind of QBO power users, pro advisors. And so The reason we're doing that is because we wanted kind of one group, because the QuickBooks Connect event coming in October, Intuit is doing an event to bring in small businesses, accounting professionals, and third-party developers, along with Intuit professionals, Intuit, that company who makes QuickBooks. They're having this big conference, and they're bringing all of these groups together, and so we have consolidated all the different groups that we have, so we have one place for everybody to go and start a conversation and get the conversation going. So maybe we'll get a survey going next week on the LinkedIn group about which features are better. So we'll have to think about that. So
it'll be skewed. It'll be skewed, but that's fine.
It won't be skewed at all. It'll be skewed by what?
What's the name of it again?
QB Connect, as in QuickBooks.
Yeah. QB.
As a whole.
We'll talk about it next week. We'll see.
QB Connect as a whole.
The contributors are a little skewed. Kind of a way in over here. Let's see. Over here. Totally. Wait. Over here.
This should be fun. I'm looking forward to next week. So I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. I hope it was fun, and we'll talk to you guys next Wednesday. Take care.
Peace out.
Throw away thumb drives, no attachments. Get the files anywhere when you're permitted access. What's the matter? Frustrated with the hassle? Jump up in the cloud and join us in the castle. We're high up in the clouds and we're never coming down. So get up, get up, get up, get up in the cloud. High up in the cloud and we're never coming down. So get up, get up, get up, get up in the cloud. Throw away thumb drives, no attachments. Get the files anywhere when you're permitted access. What's the matter? Frustrated with the hassle? Jump up in the cloud and join us in the castle. We're high up in the clouds and we're